Today's show is brought to you by Milwaukee-based Spike Brewing, designer and manufacturer of premium quality home brewing equipment. Is your beer falling flat? Are you sick of setting up all that gear for a brew day and running out to buy propane? Frustrated by the weather dictating your brewing schedule? Take it inside and avoid the cold, wet winter with the turnkey electric system from Spike Brewing. Trusted by homebrewers and pros alike, the Spike system will change the way you brew and take your beer to new heights. And whether you're interested in a simple upgrade from a glass carboy to a stainless steel fermenter, or you're switching from propane to electric, Spike Brewing has the solution for you. Reach out today to spikebrewing.com/homebrew happy hour, and their team can help you figure out what you need to make the most of your brew day. Spike Brewing. Pursue what's possible.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hello and welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page. Or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today I am joined by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President, Chief Keg Washer, not even paying attention. What are you texting? What are you doing on your phone? Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Good. Just doing a little texting. Are you?
Wait, I just got your text. Why'd you say, "Are you ready, fat boy"? That wasn't nice. What kind of a boss are you?
I'm actually pulling something up for the show.
Oh, wait, it's definitely not the questions. Oh, are you going through? Okay, goodness. I know what you're doing, and it's disgusting, and I'm going to edit this out if I end up being wrong. So you think you're proving all these points.
But I know what he's doing.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm not going to edit it out. That's why he's doing it right now while we're recording, because he knows I'm too lazy to go chop stuff up if I don't have to. It's amazing. I was telling Todd how we're recording this a day late. We had some vendors come visit, or I guess customers really come visit, and it was a busy Wednesday, Thursday. We didn't do the show, and so I told him before we started recording, I said, I'm gonna as soon as we're done recording, I'm gonna edit it as quickly and then get it published. And he was like, "Isn't that what you always do?" And I was like, "Yeah, for the most part, if we can."
Kind of, sort of, maybe.
Exactly. Thank you, James. Yeah. When I have more time, it's like, because this, as much as I love doing the show, it's not the priority of my workday. I want it to be. I'd love for it to be. I'd like to do a show every day if I could get paid to do that, but it turns out you can't at this moment. So,
yeah.
But I know
this particular pay grade, right?
I know what he's doing. So I'll clump two things together in this one small talk segment. Todd, he and I made a $5 bet, not separate from the one we did on the show. I'll get to that. We made a $5 bet that he did DVD Netflix in the mail as recent as 2018. And I was like, I know you did, because you, me, and Liz watched that Christopher Walken movie, had Amber Heard in it, and they sang that Nancy Sinatra song, Something Stupid, and da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, "No, man, it's been like 6 years since I've had DVD in the mail." I was like, that's not the truth. But I was dumb, James. I made the bet. I said, I should have went with, "Oh, you think it was 6 years or more?" I should have taken that bet, because that would have been the easiest bet. Instead,
yeah, but you didn't.
I know. No. I know. So I said, it was like 2018. And he goes, "I'll bet you $5 it wasn't 2018. I said, so wait, I get the under on 2018. Like I get 2018 or newer, and you get the over, or I guess it would be under if you're talking about age. And he was like, "Deal." But the good thing for me so far, the billing history only goes back 1 year on Netflix if you go in your account. And because that's what I was going to do. I was going to find in his billing history where it said the extra amount, because DVD add-ons like $10 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And it only went back a year. So then he gets Liz out there. He goes, "Liz, when did we do the DVD in the mail?" And she says, I don't know. Well, no, the way he said it, he goes, "Did we do it in 2018? And And she said,
He's like, no, it's way before that.
she did say it was way before that. And he goes, ha!
So
And I said, no, in a court of law, which is like our $5 bets, we need more concrete than just hearsay. I need credit card statements.
James, when was the last time my wife wasn't honest?
Oh, I've only known her to be honest 100% of the time.
Oh, wait a second. You are twisting my words right now, Mr. Burns, because I'm not saying
I wanted to show you something. She was going to make that King Ranch casserole next time you're in town.
Oh, no, shut up, you jerk.
Because she knows how much you like it. But when I finish, this is what you're going to be.
MREs? I love it.
That's messed up, man. Because here's what it is. All I'm saying is Liz may have been mistaken. I didn't say she was dishonest. I said she may have been mistaken. And so Todd goes, Josh called.
I'm fairly certain it sounded like an honesty question with her.
He texted.
That's what will be reported to her when I see her.
I know you texted her saying Josh called you a liar? Question mark.
Yeah.
So now I'm never invited
back. Filthy, rotten liar.
Filthy, rotten liar. Oh, but I do want to update.
I haven't sent the text yet. I would still be willing to take the $5 and have you admit it, here on the podcast that you were wrong. It's up to you.
No, of course not. No, I'm not wrong. It was like,
give me a second. I need to order these MREs.
Hey,
order. I ordered them already. I paid for them.
I'm done.
Move on. Let's move on.
I'm done being thrown under the bus. Now it's your turn. Listeners, someone wrote in, two sides of this. One, a lot of people writing in with techniques on how I could lose another $5 on the bet you and I made. If you're new or if you're a couple weeks behind or you skip episodes, because some people do based on the title, if they're not interested in the topic. Todd and I made a bet about breaking up an all-grain brew day, doing all of the pre-boil stuff, so the mash and the sparge on one Saturday, and then the next Saturday doing the boil and everything else, cool down, pitching, and all that. And James and I'm the one who made the bet. James just agreed with me, so I feel a little more confident.
Yeah.
It was you're gonna get off flavors, probably sour. I mean, Joe was like, that's literally how you make a kettle sour, but okay, whatever you want to do. And Todd tried to get out of it in some ways by saying, well, we didn't say what style I had to brew, but we've established that it's not going to be that. It's going to be like a blonde or something you could taste the flaws. And I've been getting
I publicly want to say I did not agree it was going to be a blonde.
Well, I thought we were all in the brew room.
Never said a blonde.
Okay.
I'm not brewing a blonde.
Well, it's not going to be a kettle sour. Okay. It's not going to be.
I agreed that it wouldn't be a sour. I didn't say what it would be, though.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Try to snake your way as you do.
It'll be a DEPA or an IPA, something that you can just load the hops up into, kind of cover up everything else, right?
I don't know yet.
No comment.
It will be something that you could taste the off flavor in. Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay, whatever. Either way, a lot of people wrote in and were like, "Oh, here's how I've done it, and I didn't have any bad results." And they listed, this whole detailed thing. I'm like, I'm going to give this to Todd after I did his $5 because it's just about this one batch of beer and that he has to brew, that he has to make sure it doesn't have off flavors. So, but then a lot of people wanted to know, when are you going to do it? It seems like you're ducking me and avoiding having to pay me $5. Do we have it on the schedule, Todd?
I'm leaving for Germany next week. I'm going to be gone for 10 days and I'm running a couple of multi-$10 businesses.
Multi-10. You're right. I was just saying, where's you going with this? It is. You were 100 air last year. That was that was impressive.
Yeah.
All right.
I had two of them, $200 bills at the end of the year.
One of them was from me when I lost the weight loss competition.
Right. Well, yeah, technically, but yeah.
All right. All right. Whenever you can do it and get me my $5 because I pay my bets like really quick. So that's what
I'm going to have to, I can tell I'm going to have to get the credit card statement on the Netflix thing.
You are.
But it doesn't matter what the credit card statement says because it's not, I don't understand how that would work.
That's just going to prove whenever you like if
they don't go back in billing, how would I get that?
No.
Doesn't it show a history of the rented out mailed DVDs?
Oh, you might be able to do that. Well, I think you have to have an active account though. An active.
I think they only go back like 4 or 5 years on that, and it's been more than that. So.
No, oh, you want to make a double or you want to double or nothing on the 4 or 5 years? Because that's a chance for me to be the nothing potentially.
Well, you know what I can say about this is I didn't even realize I was still paying for the DVD mail option for forever. And I went online the other day and was like, of course, I say the other day, it was a while back, but I didn't realize that there was an extra charge for that.
James, I'm hoping that's going to be this case. Like, I'm hoping because now that I think about it, 2018 seems a little more recent than my memory for when I know he had the DVD option in the mail. But I'm hoping
I did it way before we got the high speed internet, and I did it after that, and that was before 2018.
The high speed internet was 2018. Was before 2018.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah, I want to say, was it 2017 when you had that put in?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. What? I'm not making another bet. I'm done making bets with you till we get all these bets squared away. We have 2 on the table. You do the beer brew, whatever. That'll be $5.
I like to think of it as $10 about to be in my wallet. But yeah.
Here, yeah, use that $10 and buy you and James some schlusel on me and just rub it in my face when y'all are there and I'm not there. I need some content for our Instagram. So,
well, since we're buying you some schlusel, that maybe y'all settle the bet before we leave, so we don't have to spend the money.
Yeah, he has a PayPal, James. I can just e-transfer it over. He will that whole flight over to Germany. You don't think he'll be getting all his credit card statements and showing me line by line with his? Or you got upgraded on the way there, didn't you, Todd?
I did. Yeah, I did get upgraded.
So you're gonna show me your real china and silverware plate with the credit card statement and a piece of paper with the question mark, pay me now. And like, I can already see it. I know you, if you're right, that's what's going to happen. You're also going to ask me to select what wine pairs best with rare,
with the filet mignon.
Yeah, with the filet mignon that was grass Kobe beef fed, or no, that'd be weird. But yeah, you have a good way of rubbing it in my face. So I'm moving on. That is a good segue. Y'all are going to be gone next week in Germany. Very excited for y'all, even though it's like terribly long work days. I'm excited for y'all are staying right by, not Brewery Kurtzer. Which brewery?
Golly.
If I wouldn't have asked you, you would have remembered. But y'all are staying right across the street from, it's not Schumacher and it's not Kurtzer. Which one is it? Is it Futchen? Which one are you?
No.
Udigal?
No.
Todd has that blank look on his face. Are you trying to look it up? Which one you're staying?
Oh, no. I don't know. It just doesn't matter.
I was just saying, because now
they're about a block away.
Well, that's going to be a whole different experience, because before
I'm sorry. I was getting bored. Excuse me.
The whole, what I was getting at, you jerk, is that usually you stay at that real nice Hilton, but it's a good chunk away. It's a good walk. It's a nice stumble home, but it's still, y'all are going to be right there in Altstadt at an Airbnb. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we had 2 nights there, and then we're leaving, and then we're actually coming back, and we're staying in that Hilton when we come back, which now we're probably going to be like, damn, we should have just done the Airbnb. We'll see how it is. We've never done it before there.
Yeah,
it looks like it'll be a cool place. And then we're going to be out in the sticks in Holland, in a cabin for a couple of days. Stefan is taking us there from CMB Schonkenlagen, and so we're going to stay with him. It's his wife's birthday. It'll be a fun little side trip.
Wait,
we're gonna
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it'll be fun. So we're going to be out kind of in the woods in Holland, and then we're going to go in for the day to Amsterdam and have lunch and stuff.
I didn't realize it was for his wife. That makes it much better, because I was telling you, like, I think there's 2 genres of movies where a German man takes 2 other men into the woods.
Go like a pig, boy.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be a horror movie or an adult movie, but I've seen those movies, and I just didn't know. I didn't know, Todd. You said yes to Stefan, the burly German man.
But you know what? Todd, you forgot the most important thing that we're going to be doing over there in Germany. It's very tied into the show. We're actually going to be brewing beer in Germany with Stefan. We're going to be brewing a alt beer on his new machine.
Shut up.
Oh yeah, and I was going to tell you, James. I think we should. I'm thinking about packing because I can check in as many I can check in like 3 suitcases, right?
Yeah.
I think we should do check-in baggage on the way there
Mhm.
and take another box or suitcase with some more recipes for him.
Yeah.
Because it won't cost us anything.
Will it clear customs?
Oh, yeah. It's just grain.
Then definitely we need to do that.
Okay.
I didn't know y'all were brewing.
Yeah, we're going to brew.
No way. You already shipped over the system then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I shipped it over before Christmas.
Dude.
With and then we put some candies in there for the girls and a Christmas card and all that. So
yeah.
Be brewing in Germany.
That's okay. Now I am super.
2 thumbs up.
Y'all are the worst. The only thing that makes it better, I was looking at myself on the screen. I got my bouncy ball back. I took it out. Todd, you have a real chair in my office back there.
It's so nice not to have to sit on your ball anymore. Podcast.
I like it, man. I'm working out my core. I've got my ab core working out. I think the Marine Corps uses this. That's what James gets that. Okay, we have a show. I brought a couple questions to the table. Starting off, question number 1 came from William J., who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. William wrote in, longtime listener, first-time write-in, love the show, always entertaining and informational. Joshua, Todd, and James, I have started making smaller batches of beer, 1.5 gallons, so I can try more styles. He mentions the Kolsch and the Alt. Way to get your question put on the show. I see what you did there. My question is about how much yeast to use. Most all recipes are for 5-gallon batches or more. Should I use a half packet or less of dry or liquid yeast? I really don't want to waste yeast. Is it okay to use the full amount that's listed for a 5-gallon recipe, which would be like a pack? Most packs are predetermined for a 5-gallon batch if you get them from any kind of manufacturer. And so he says, then will the additional yeast cause issues or maybe produce unwanted esters? James, I kind of talked about this with you in passing up at headquarters. Over pitching, I know it can be an issue, but is it as big an issue as like under pitching might be?
No, because I think if you under pitch, you of course increase lag time. We've talked about that before. That's where you really create some off flavors. But I think over pitching, now it is possible the viability of the yeast or the healthy yeast cells to duplicate and all that. If you over pitch, then that doesn't happen as well. But I think in my experience, it's better to over than under. Because
I don't think with 1.5 gallons versus 5-gallon batch, so it's maybe you could argue it's 3 times as much yeast. I don't think you would over pitch in that situation.
I agree completely. And also, we don't know whether it's dry yeast or liquid yeast. Every yeast, the clock starts ticking down when it gets packed. So you don't know how much of that is good yeast anyway. So think of it like if you're doing a 1.5, 2-gallon batch versus a 5-gallon batch, think of it, it's kind of like a starter. You do a starter, you typically overpitch on a starter, correct? So I just don't see the argument there. I don't think that there would be, if anything, maybe you might come up with a drier beer because it's gonna consume more sugars and maybe leave it with a little more body, but.
No, a drier beer.
Yeah, that's my kind of beer. But I would argue that it's always better to over than under.
When I got this question, in Todd's head, and I put his voice in my head, so the caveman Neanderthal voice, and I could hear his response was going to be, "Well, why are you brewing small batches?" Like Todd would argue that just brew a 5-gallon batch. You've got the ingredients. Just brew the 5-gallon.
The merrier.
The more, the merrier.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I just don't. I can't imagine brewing that small of a batch. I mean, I know he said he wants to try different styles, but it just takes so long. I would just be like 5. I mean, that to me that is a small batch. 5 gallons.
Oh, I know it is because you chastised me. I didn't even tell you. My dad and I did the alt beer brew day last weekend, and we did the recipe. I forgot to tell Joe. He was super swamped, and I was like, hey, all these alt beers got to go out for our Patreon members, which here's the nice little plug, patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. We have 2 tiers with recipes now, and it's the alt beer for this month. Sign up, get it. The recipe is ridiculously good. Either way, I forgot to tell Joe, my dad and I have been doing 10-gallon batches now, and I just said, hey, can you make me a recipe as well because I'm going to take it home to brew. He goes, yeah, no problem. I didn't check the box. Didn't matter. When we got back, I opened the box and, it's only the ingredients for 5 gallons. And my dad looked at me and I was like, just don't tell Todd. We'll be okay. Just don't tell Todd. Like, because the first thing you're going to do is go, so where's my 2.5 gallons? Or you're going to chastise me like, you have that nice system and you're only doing a 5-gallon batch. Why didn't you check, you idiot? Both of those I've heard you say verbatim. So I know those are in your wheelhouse. But yeah, I know, kidding aside on the smaller batches, a lot of our listeners brew 3-gallon batches or less. I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on that. I think it's mainly the feedback I get. They're doing it because they don't have the equipment. Like they're breaking up extract recipes. They're scaling them down, and they don't have the equipment for storage or for brewing. Todd, that look on your face, you're probably about to say, "Well, then just get the equipment."
No, you never really gave me a chance to respond to what you were saying before. I was thinking about that. Like. It just surprised me that you weren't specific about something and then forgot to check it. So,
dig.
I'm going to cut that part out. That's all I'll do.
I was just surprised. That's all.
Oh, shut up.
I would argue that what is the cost benefit if they're looking at it that way between a 1.5 2-gallon batch versus a 5-gallon batch? I think that to get the extra 3 gallons of beer, I think it'd be worth the few dollars that it's going to cost for the difference.
So
because of the time involved, it takes so long to brew that. It just seems like the other 3 gallons is almost free. I mean, sure. I don't think it's a cost thing. I don't really know what it is. You said maybe equipment or maybe it's, I don't know. The 1-gallon batch brews were a thing for a while and everybody kind of jumped on it and everybody was doing 1-gallon batch kits. And then you notice it just kind of fizzled out. I think what happened is people brewed 1-gallon batch for a while and they were like, wow, that was a lot of work for 1 gallon. So
yeah, and it's gone like that.
Well, I know from a retail side, because before you acquired the domain Homebrew Supply, the previous guy who owned that company and was running the site, they had 1-gallon recipe kits.
They did.
And he said it was the biggest pain in the butt to make the kits, like having to, scale everything down, and most of them only came with dry yeast, or they had to buy the customer had to buy yeast and figure that logistical stuff out. Because I don't know of any manufacturers that package yeast for anything less than expected 5-gallon batch. Do you, James? I mean, like all of those, the slap pats from is that White Labs or Y Yeast? I forget who does the slap pats. I think it's Y Yeast.
Oh, Y Yeast.
Yeah, White Labs with the slim pack lines and Imperial, all the liquid yeast, I'm pretty confident, or I wouldn't bet $5, but I'm pretty confident that they're all set for a 5-gallon batch, and you can scale up. Oh, you're doing a 10-gallon batch? Just get 2 pats. Hey, we make it easy on you. Being you and I are cut from the same cloth, only that we're both cheap. You're way smarter. You're more handsome. All that stuff. We won't go into all of it, but we're both cheap, James. So hear me out.
What I would say on this, and I think I know which direction you're going, is if you're going to use a full pack of yeast, reuse that stuff. So whenever you do a 1.5 2-gallon batch, think of it as like a starter. Even if you have to secondary it, know your sanitation measures that you have to do when you're reusing yeast, but you repitch that and do another, you might want to cut that. Now, I would say that it's going to grow. So when it grows, you certainly wouldn't want to put the whole amount in another 1.5 2-gallon, but you can take, like if you can go to Walmart, you get those little jelly jars that are about that big. They're made by Ball, and they have a screw-on lid. You can sanitize those, and you can cut that into portions for smaller batches of beer if that's what you want to do. And just keep it. It'll if you keep it clean and keep it cold, that'll keep for 30, 45 days, no problem.
Boom.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of trouble for a 5-gallon batch.
Well, yeah.
But you can keep regrowing your yeast, and then you save your money on yeast. So buy a really good yeast, like a Imperial yeast, and then with Imperial, you got to remember that's 200 billion cells. So maybe you want to half that packet get your 2 jars ready and split that in half for your 1.5 gallon. But you can manage, it is manageable. And then you've got yeast for a lot more batches.
Absolutely. And you knew exactly where I was going. You're a mind reader too. Goodness. I love it. All right. William.
Because, remember, we did the Colts challenge. We brewed 5 big batches of Colts with the same initial packets of yeast for the first batch. And it just kept growing more and more. And I would put the whole thing in the next one just to see if that made a difference. Didn't do anything other than it kicked off quicker, and it would finish fermenting in 2-3 days.
It was quick and it was good. Yep. I remember the 5th one. I think you're like, oh, I think this is it. Even that one, it mellowed out. It was good. It was really good.
In fact, if you remember, we had a 7-day beer out of one of those batches. In other words, we had kegged it on the 7th day and we're drinking it.
That sounds biblical.
It was.
And on the 7th day,
God kegged his beer.
God kegged his beer, and it was okay. I don't know if it was good. It was okay. William, thank you so much for submitting the question. Moving on to our last question of the show from Aaron W. Aaron W., who also used a submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Aaron wrote, "Hey Josh, Todd, James, et al. I've really been enjoying the show and all the information and knowledge you share. I'm a relatively new homebrewer. The family got me a couple of kits last year for my birthday, and I've been going ever since. My question for you all is, when creating a recipe, how do you determine which hops go in and at what time? Keep up the great work. Prost." Aaron W., we love a good German cheer. Just good timing for y'all's trip. It is a good question. We've talked about recipe creation a little in regards to, like, I've had Jason Challifer, talk about malts going in, what kind to use for what kind of results. On our Q&A we did with him, he had a lot of those kinds of questions, which is the Q&A we do is for our Patreon members of all levels, and we have like an industry expert come in, and I'd love to get someone from like Yakima or someone in the Pacific Northwest doing hops. I'd love to have one of them on as well. I think we get so many hop questions that I'm having to just struggle Googling and asking James and Todd and Joe. But with this, you create recipes, James. What's the trick behind, I'm using this hop for this characteristic and I'm using this hop at this time? Because any given recipe has throwing hops right at the beginning of the boil. Then throw in these hops with 20 minutes left. Then flame out, put in some more hops.
It's super simple. What it boils down to, and I'm going to butcher this word, but they have what's called isomerization, and what that is those alpha acids inside that hop lupid gland. It actually turns into a bittering agent for the beer, and what makes that happen, or what makes that possible, is long boiling. So if you want more of a bitter hoppy beer, then you add more hops for a longer amount of time, like we call the 60-minute hop addition. That's the addition at the very start of the boil. Now, if you want more flavor hops, you add that towards the end, so you don't have that conversion take place and make it bitter, but you get the flavor and the aromatics of the hop. So remember, bitter at the beginning, flavor at the end, and then you can tailor how you want it to taste.
Todd, I never give you enough credit, and it's a real question, not intended, because I'm very transparent and honest. I've never made my own recipe. I still wouldn't know. Like when I talk to Joe and James specifically about this kind of stuff, I'm always blown away because I'm like, oh, what if I wanted this pineapple taste to come through? And they're like, oh yeah, and it would, if I paid attention, I'd be able to say what was actually been said to me and correct, but I don't pay attention. But when you've created a recipe, do you just stick with the standard hop, or have you experimented because you knew what you wanted to bring out in whatever you were brewing?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can Google any hop. You could Google, I want this taste, and determine what hop does that taste. I mean, you don't have to have this knowledge base in your head that you have to pull from. I don't think it's that hard. The reason I laughed during your answer, James, is I was wondering if that was a purposeful, is purposeful a word?
Yeah, purposeful.
Josh?
Oh, yeah.
If it was a purposeful pun at the beginning, because you started out, the answer is what it boils down to.
No, right off the top of my head. No.
That was a good dad joke. What was the other? Todd had another good dad joke recently where I forgot. Oh, it was the cherries. You had sour or it was a sour beer or sour cherries, and I said sweet, as in like a positive affirmation, like, oh, sweet. He goes, no, it's sour.
The sour pickle beer.
That's what it was. It was the sour pickle beer. Joe, that's right.
Joe's like, I have sour pickle beer, and he immediately goes, sweet.
And so Todd goes, no, it's sour. Oh, I said, thanks, Dad.
I honestly didn't know if he had done that on purpose or not. I thought it was funny. What it boils down to.
No, but Todd makes a good point. I mean, one of the reasons we ever did this show way before, when James was a twinkle in Todd's eye. And before wait, that's not that.
Wow!
Wait, that's not that saying at all. Oh no!
I'm not comfortable.
That's not right.
No, okay. Before James was ever with the company, when I was hoodwinking Todd into doing the show, bamboozling him, one of the premise was like, "Hey, we did all these questions. What if we had this place to put all the answers on and maybe direct people? Like, hey, here's a short answer. If you want maybe a better explanation, we do this podcast. But even us." We are very straightforward about use Google, use Reddit, use Homebrew Talk, use the resources of living in the year 2020. Your smartphone, even I don't know if I said, hey Google, what hops should I use for making a Kolsch? I wonder what it's going to tell me. Oh, that's transpiring what I said. Or transcribing. And it's still transcribing. God, you idiot.
So we have a Stone IPA right now in my fridge that has a pineapple flavor, and I'm sure they're getting it from the hops. I mean, I would absolutely swear to that, but I'm sure it's coming from the hops. I mean, it's or it's the some of the juicy ones have that pineapple flavor, and it seems to be by adding the dry hopping or adding a hops at the very end.
That's correct.
That tend to give that flavor. So
they do. So what we do, if I want a lot of flavor and aromatics, I'll do it in the whirlpool. Because in our spike system, I'll whirlpool the and I'll enter them in at about 180 degrees. That seems to be between 180 and 190 degrees for 20 minutes seems to be ideal for bringing those out of the hops. And then you don't get absolutely no bittering whatsoever. You just got all the characteristics of the hops. And you can go on to like hopunion.com and you can pull up, they'll show you what a bittering hop is and what a aroma hop is. They'll give you examples of what's best used for this and what's best used for that. And you can also pull up the BJCP guideline online and they will give you the styles and what kind of hops are for each style.
Yeah, the BJCP, that's a really good one, especially if you should try to stick to styles. That way you know what to expect from the beer.
And get you started.
Absolutely. But I agree. I was going to add on, not only like Hop Union, most manufacturers or most growers of hops, makers of yeast, growers of grains, have website databases with, hey, I want to know what this hop does. So you go to there and they'll tell you. I want to know what this yeast does. You go to Imperial, you go to Omega, you go wherever, and it tells you. Well, again, we're living in the best time ever, guys. Like, it's wonderful.
Lots of information
and easily utilized. But yeah, I'm just happy that his family got him brewing. That's a cool family.
That is a cool family.
I mean, it'd be even cooler if it happened to come from like catconnection.com, but I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be picky. We'll just hope that they picked out some decent recipes so he sticks with it. Cause I know when people during the holiday season and I'm helping Todd's customer service lead, Zach, I'll help him do a lot of the customer service questions or phone calls or whatever. And a lot of people that are buying for their family members will say, what's a recipe kit I can get for them? And if they know like, oh, little Timmy, or I say little, shouldn't be little if you're brewing. Uncle Timmy of 25 years of age or whatever, legal age to drink beer. Let's just say that. That's the best case scenario. He really likes IPAs. Then you would go, okay, well then let's have him brew an IPA. But if it's like, oh, my husband, I just know he likes beer. I don't really remember what he drinks. I always push him. I'm a little biased. I always push him towards the true to style Kolsch because I really think that that's the gateway for a home brewer, that style, that smooth style. I don't know if y'all would agree with me. I mean, James will. I don't know if Todd would. Some kind of ale, some kind of simple ale where...
an American ale is a great first beer to brew. even a pale ale, if they is always a good first beer because they're really, really easy to brew. They almost always come out if you follow the sanitation guidelines. I mean, there's a lot of to me a lot of simple, easy to brew beers that are also extremely good beers. So.
James' recipe, we had an all-grain bundle for the last couple of Black Friday and Christmas time sales, and you did a smash ale, American ale, with single malt and single hop. That's what smash stands for. Very straightforward, very simple, but it gets really good reviews, dude. People loved it. They're like, I didn't mess it up, so check box number one. And whenever it came time to keg, it worked, and it's dispensing good and tastes great. Check box number two. That's all we can ask for.
It's just one type of grain, one type of hop, a bittering, a hop addition, and then an aroma hop. And that's it. You can't get any simpler than that. It
kegged well, and they didn't have. Did you hear my story about this before you got there?
I only heard
our guest.
Katie told me that you had a mishap. Go ahead.
So I hate to throw Joe under the bus, but Joe's had another keg he left at my house, so I drank it. Right, and
of course.
So he left two there, and so the second one I keg it, and it's like it stopped up immediately. And I'm like, oh, and so I open up, get the post off, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's hops all on the post. There must have been little hops at the bottom. So I do that like 3 more times, and then I'm getting frustrated. So I take the post out of the, the spring and the post and everything out of the off the post on the keg and out of the disconnect. So there's nothing stopping it. It's just open completely. And it still stopped up once, but I cleaned the dip tube out, did it. So finally I'm getting a little flow. I got it fully open, and I'm decided I'm going to put like half a gallon in a bucket just to clear all these hops out so I can drink the beer that night. Because we have people on the way there, right? Well, they get there. We're still screwing with it. And I keep forgetting that I took the post out. So we're trying to get it running, and I'll accidentally pull it off, and the beer's shooting at my face and all over me. And one of our guests, it shot all over her leg.
Just matter, and like
there's hoppy beer.
It was like a frat party over there. I heard.
I'm just covered in beer, and Vilver's helping me, and he's covered in beer. And so my wife comes over, and I was like, don't say I smell like a brewery tonight, because I do smell like a brewery. Yeah.
Oh, Todd.
It was a mess. We finally got it cleared, and it was really good, wasn't it?
It was. Oh yeah. And
celebration. It's aged well.
It really has. And your beer's getting light there, man. The breakfast stout's gone. The pills was a huge hit again. James, quote, air quote, I'm always so critical of my beer. No one's gonna like it, but then everyone ends up loving it. Carlson, I have to tell you,
my beer sucks, but it really doesn't. Carlson,
dude, everyone loves it. Every time I come up there, everyone loves your pills, and I know you.
That's a good example of lag time and underpitching yeast right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did tell me that because you came around. You came around on that pills as well.
It took a while.
It took a while. Even now, look at you. You're so funny. I love it. All right.
No, but I understand because it's a little sweet, and James and I aren't crazy about sweeter beers, but a lot of people that don't. If they're at my house and they're looking in the fridge and their eyes glaze over because there's 40 different kinds of beers, and then they're looking over and we got 2 Christmas beers. They're both strong as hell, right? A lot of flavor and everything, and then they try that pills and they're like, oh, yeah.
It's smooth, baby. It's smooth. But anyways, Aaron, also thank you. This is a great time to remind y'all, check your inboxes. I emailed you both. If you submit a question to homebrewhappyhour.com through the website or on our telephone line, we will give you a $25 gift card of Todd's money to kegconnection.com. It's a cool program we've been doing. It's been well received. Go figure. If you give people free stuff, they participate. And Aaron, I'm going to plug it one more time. People are going to groan, and I'll get some messages on Instagram or email or whatever. If you enjoy brewing frequently, maybe think about joining our Patreon at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. We have a new $35 tier that gets you a recipe every other month, gets you the premium welcome pack that has the cool James, are you wearing the CM Becker hat today? No, me neither.
No. I need to.
And none of us are wearing the shirt, but it gets you some cool swag. Basically, I mean, these t-shirts I've heard go on eBay for $150. I mean, I haven't. What I mean is, I put a listing on eBay for $150, and nobody's bought it yet. But I did it so that I could say this. And I'm kidding, I didn't, but I should. But thank you for submitting the question, gentlemen. I know y'all are going to miss me, especially Todd. I know you're going to miss me, but I hope you have safe travels to Germany. We're not going to do an episode with y'all next week's with Ryan from Spike. I'm very excited about that. But I do hope if you have some time, send me a ton of photos so I can repost them. And then also, if you have video, I know James owes me a rub my nose in the fact that I'm not there at Schlussel video because we did it to him. So I look forward.
Hey, I'm getting you Schlussel beer. So,
we really should do a video, do some video while we're brewing with the Germans. That'd be fun.
Please do. Please do. Both of you have new enough cell phones.
I actually have one of those 4K cameras like GoPros. I got it for my daughter for Christmas.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I could bring it with me and we could shoot some video. It's got like a 60 gig card
dude, yeah, and any equipment. I should have thought about that because we have all this new equipment for the podcast. Todd, you could have totally taken any of the GoPros, not the drone. That wouldn't do well, but you should have taken anything you wanted to capture video. Your phones, though, funny enough, y'all both have good enough phones for our purposes. I'd love to see the footage y'all capture on Brew Day.
Just hold them this way, right? Don't hold them this way.
Yeah, hold them in the World Star hip hop portrait style. Okay, this way is what we want if you can. But I think they correct it now automatically. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your time for doing the show, and I will catch y'all when you get back from Germany.
See ya.
All right, and that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the Submit a Question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsors, Spike Brewing Equipment, for supporting us and the home brewing community. Learn more about their incredible equipment at spikebrewing.com/homebrew happy hour and make the most of your brew day. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.
This program is made possible by the checkbook of Mr. Todd Burns and by contributions to our newly launched Patreon by viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and join our community. Thank you.